belonging. Akua is a second-year social work student. Akua is a Black African from Ghana. A requirement of the social work degree is that students complete learning opportunities in practice. This means that they are placed within statutory or independent providers of services where they work alongside social workers. While on placement, the student is supported by a practice teacher who is a qualified social worker who assesses the student and is responsible for signing off that the student is safe to practice. Akua was placed in a statutory children's services team. The team are responsible for providing duty services for children in need and or at risk of significant harm. The team receive referrals from a range of professionals and members of the public about their concerns for children. The team are then responsible for deciding what should happen next and who to pass the information to. The work is done primarily by telephone and the use of computers. Akua had completed her first placement learning during her first year. She had been placed within a mental health residential setting where she had worked directly and closely with service users. After successfully completing 40 days in placement in her first year, Akua was looking forward to a new learning experience in a different setting. Akua's PT was a new team manager recently appointed to deliver this new service. The PT was also enrolled on enabling others at master's level, continuing her own professional development, and as part of this learning was matched to a second-year student. This was Akua. The PT is white British.
The first meeting appeared to go well. My PT was also a team manager and I was really looking forward to working with her and learning from her. At this meeting, I shared my previous practice and life experience with her. I told her about my experience of racism and the impact this had on my learning as a child. I shared this experience because I wanted the PT to know that despite experiencing racism and being told that I was not good enough, I had achieved good grades and was committed to learning.
Listening to Akua's experience had left me feeling overwhelmed. I was concerned about how Akua would work effectively with white service users. I felt at this early stage that maybe race was the barrier, which I found difficult to address. I felt uncomfortable and didn't know what this meant. I wanted Akua to understand the importance of working in a team that is responsible for responding to concerns about children. I was concerned that her lack of experience in the area of safeguarding and child protection would be a problem. Akua told me that she did not understand emotional abuse. I thought she would best learn from being in a group with other students, so I set up a learning opportunity for her and asked her to meet with the group. I was disappointed to learn that Akua had left the group early, and I felt this showed that she was not committed to learning about child abuse.
I do not drive, and when I explained to another member of staff about catching a bus to get home to another county, they said I could leave the group early. I took reading with me and confirmed on my timesheet that I had completed the required 6.5 hours.
I was not happy that Akua had been allowed to leave the group early. I decided to speak with Akua about her commitment to learning and how I felt this needed to be addressed. I met with Akua and said we would use the time to go through childcare legislation. I was pleased that Akua made some good suggestions about social work interventions. I was disappointed that Akua did not appear to be able to assess risk, and she failed to understand the significance of bruising to a small child.
I felt under pressure to show how committed I was to learning. I wanted to explain why I had asked to leave the group early, but felt unable to do this. I kept silent. I did understand the importance of assessing risk, but felt unable to express this for fear of getting it wrong. I was nervous and felt that whatever I had said wasn't good enough.
I wanted to provide a range of experiences for Akua. I felt she needed to try to understand the pressures that qualified social workers are under. I arranged for Akua to spend time with the Children's Services Duty Team. She was shown how to use Integrated Children's Systems, ICS, and was asked to take a call from a referrer. I explained fully to Akua what she needed to do.
I followed the instructions and sought support from another social worker who reassured me that I was doing fine. I took the referral and put the information on ICS and was supported by another social worker who checked what I was doing.
The referral was not accurate. The child's middle name was wrong. I know this because the team have been involved with this family before. Akua had also recorded that the child had been slapped, and I overheard another member of staff saying that the child had been headbutted. This was a simple task that demonstrated Akua could not follow instructions and that there was a language barrier. I would now have to watch Akua carefully and get her to repeat back to me instructions and information from referrals. I did not feel that Akua was meeting the competencies and national occupational standards.
I felt undermined and patronised by the PT. I was following instructions and accepted guidance from other social workers. At times, other social workers told me that they did not believe the PT was coping and I did not know what to do. She did look busy. I felt caught up in the politics of the team.
Akua appeared to become withdrawn and very quiet. She did not appear to be doing well, and this confirmed my assessment that she was not up to the task. I contacted the university to ask for a cause for concern meeting.
I was shocked and did not understand why the meeting had been arranged. I was not informed. I asked the PT to tell me what the concerns are, and she said she would do this when my personal academic tutor arrived. When the meeting began, the PT said that there were cultural differences that had become problematic and she did not feel I was safe to practice. The PT said that the evidence for this was from observing my practice with service users that showed that culture was an issue and that I did not understand issues around completing home visits, taking referrals and assessing risk.
I felt that Akua was out of her depth. I did not feel confident to sign her off as safe to practice. The personal academic tutor suggested that a plan was put in place to help Akua. I agreed to this in principle, but was not convinced that this would work.
I felt defeated. I did not feel listened to by anyone. I felt I was up against a white barrier of suspicion and unrelenting criticism.
The PT took over 3 months to produce and provide a report to the university, setting out clearly her reasons for failing Akua. When the report arrived, it was considered to be lacking in detail and accuracy by academic staff. Throughout this period, there were ongoing attempts by academic staff to get a full report from the PT. Akua met with academic staff and did discuss her experience. Eventually, she was listened to, and this was nothing to do with any communication problems. Simply, no one wanted to see the experience for what it was: institutionalised racism. The language problem was one of disguise. Akua said that she felt there had been a personality clash with the PT. The PT said there was a communication and cultural barrier, all linked to meeting key skills and understanding risk. No one appeared to notice the risks and the impact of racism because everyone, including the academic staff, failed on basic skills. Akua is a Black African student. She speaks over 4 languages fluently. English is one of them. She is also an A/B grade student who says she has room for improvement. She writes eloquently and expressively. She can offer a well-developed argument, evaluate information, and offer sound analysis. She is in her final year as a social work student, progressing after undertaking and successfully passing a 60-day placement. She is also strong and courageous. She has the emotional strength and resilience to put herself back together when much of who she is had been stripped away. Akua would not say this about herself, but would say that the support she has received from the Black African social work students is what has given her a sense of belonging and determination to succeed.